Hello everyone. Welcome to USA Old Coins X. Today, we're stepping into one of the most fascinating chapters in American coin history, the Lincoln Bicentennial Pennies. In 2009, to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the United States Mint released 4 stunning penny designs, each telling a powerful story from Lincoln's life, from his humble log cabin beginnings to his growth, his professional achievements, and finally his presidency in Washington, D.C. These coins are not just 1-cent pieces, they are miniature history books struck in copper. Every detail, every line, and every symbol captures the journey of a man who changed a nation forever. So stay with us as we uncover the history, the hidden details, and the collector value behind these incredible Lincoln Bicentennial pennies, because you might have one sitting in your pocket right now worth far more than just 1 cent. Top 1. To truly understand why this coin matters, we must travel back to February 12, 1809, in a humble log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky. That simple wooden structure, represented on one of the bicentennial designs, was not just a birthplace, it was the beginning of a journey that would reshape a divided nation. The United States Mint chose to commemorate Lincoln's 200th birthday by releasing 4 different reverse designs throughout 2009. Each one symbolizing a chapter of his life. This was the first time since 1959 that the reverse design of the Lincoln cent had changed in such a dramatic and structured way within a single year. For collectors, that alone made the Bicentennial series historic. But for those who look deeper, who understand the significance of limited mintage variations, special finishes, and pristine condition grades, this coin becomes something far more exciting than a commemorative tribute. The first design in the series depicted Lincoln's birth and early childhood in Kentucky, showing the modest log cabin that has become an enduring symbol of humble beginnings. The image seems simple at first glance, yet it carries immense weight. It reminds us that greatness does not always begin in grandeur. The detail on well-preserved examples reveals sharp lines in the wooden logs, carefully defined roof shingles, and crisp inscriptions that frame the image. Collectors quickly began searching for coins with flawless surfaces, free from contact marks, scratches, or dullness. Coins struck in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially those preserved directly from mint rolls or proof sets, started gaining attention. Because when history and condition meet, value often follows. The second design honored Lincoln's formative years in Indiana, portraying him reading a book during a break from rail splitting. This image captures determination, self-education, and relentless curiosity. Lincoln did not have the advantages of formal schooling, yet his hunger for knowledge shaped him into a powerful thinker and speaker. On the coin, the tiny engraved lines of the rails, the folds of his clothing, and the texture of the ground create a dynamic scene that feels alive under magnification. High-grade examples reveal a sharpness that lower-grade circulated coins simply cannot match. The luster glows differently, almost as if the coin itself understands it represents ambition rising from hardship. Collectors who recognize this detail know that not all 2009 pennies are equal. Some are ordinary pocket change, while others are preserved treasures. The third reverse design shifted to Illinois, presenting a young Lincoln standing confidently before the state capitol, symbolizing his professional life and growing political career. This design feels bold, structured, and dignified. The Capitol building's columns, the stance of Lincoln, and the overall balance of the composition create a sense of upward momentum. In 2009, these coins were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint, known for its proof coinage, produced versions with mirror-like fields and frosted design elements that dazzle under light. When these proof coins are preserved in perfect or near-perfect condition, certified by professional grading services, they can command serious attention in the numismatic world. The difference between a common circulated cent and a flawless proof example can be the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth thousands. The fourth and final design of the Bicentennial series depicted the unfinished dome of the United States Capitol, symbolizing Lincoln's presidency during the Civil War. The imagery is powerful and emotional. The incomplete dome reflects a nation in the process of rebuilding itself, struggling yet determined to remain united. The inscription 1 cent arches proudly above, while United States of America anchors the design with authority. Under magnification, the scaffolding detail around the dome becomes astonishingly intricate. Collectors who study strike quality often look for fully defined lines in the scaffolding and crisp lettering free of weakness. Coins with strong strikes and flawless surfaces are rare compared to the millions that entered circulation. And rarity combined with perfection is what creates the kind of coin that collectors dream about finding. What makes the Lincoln 1 cent bicentennial penny of 2009 especially fascinating is not only its historical tribute but also the transitional metal composition that year. 2009 marked the final year before the United States Mint permanently changed the composition of the cent in 2010. During the bicentennial year, the cents were struck in a composition similar to earlier bronze issues for certain collector versions, while regular circulation strikes used copper-plated zinc. This subtle but important difference adds another layer of complexity for collectors. Some special collector versions were struck in 95% copper, echoing the classic composition of earlier decades. These bronze versions, particularly in pristine proof condition, have become highly desirable. When you combine historical significance, limited mintage in specific finishes, and top-tier condition grades, you begin to see why this coin can command extraordinary attention. Condition is everything in the world of rare coins, and the bicentennial penny is no exception. A coin pulled from circulation with scratches, discoloration, and wear may only hold sentimental value. But a coin preserved in mint state condition, graded at the highest levels by professional services, transforms into a completely different story. Perfectly struck examples with blazing red surfaces, flawless fields, and razor-sharp details are incredibly scarce. In auctions and private sales, collectors compete fiercely for coins that achieve the highest numeric grades. When a 2009 Lincoln bicentennial penny, especially a proof or special copper composition example, reaches the pinnacle of condition, it enters a category where serious money is involved. The difference between average and exceptional can be dramatic beyond imagination. Behind every valuable coin lies a human story, someone who saved it, someone who recognized its uniqueness, someone who believed that a simple penny could hold extraordinary potential. Across the United States, collectors searched bankrolls in 2009, hoping to find examples with strong strikes and clean surfaces. Others purchased proof sets directly from the mint, carefully storing them in protective cases. Years later, some of those coins were submitted for grading, and a small number emerged with near-perfect scores. That is where the magic happens. That is where a coin originally intended to buy a piece of candy becomes a centerpiece in a serious collection. The Lincoln bicentennial penny is not just about metal, it is about vision, patience, and understanding the difference between ordinary and exceptional. Today, as the numismatic community reflects on the bicentennial series, the Lincoln 1 cent penny of 2009 stands as one of the most meaningful modern commemorative circulation designs in American history. It captures 4 chapters of a legendary life, each struck into metal for generations to hold. But among the millions minted, only a tiny fraction exist in the kind of pristine, flawless condition that elite collectors demand. Those rare, top-tier examples have stunned the market. And one extraordinary Lincoln 1 cent bicentennial penny from 2009 has reached an incredible value of $65,000. Top 2. To understand the true importance of the 2009 Lincoln bicentennial penny, you have to step back into history and imagine the life of Abraham Lincoln himself. Born in 1809 in a humble log cabin in Kentucky, Lincoln's story is one of resilience, determination, and transformation. The first design in the bicentennial series beautifully captures this beginning, showing the simple log cabin that symbolizes his early childhood. When you look closely at this coin, especially under magnification, you can see the detail in the wooden logs and the carefully engraved lines that represent the structure's texture. It is a reminder that even the greatest leaders can come from the most modest beginnings. And when this design is preserved in flawless condition, its beauty becomes even more powerful. The second design in the series takes us to Indiana, where young Lincoln grew into a hardworking and self-educated man. This reverse features him reading while taking a break from rail splitting. It is one of the most inspiring images ever placed on a 1-cent coin. The detail in his posture, the rails stacked beside him, and the open book in his hands tells a story of ambition and hunger for knowledge. Collectors admire this design not only for its historical meaning but also for its artistry. Coins that display strong strikes, crisp lettering, and bright red surfaces stand out immediately. When preserved in mint state condition, the coin glows with a fiery luster that makes it far more than ordinary currency. The third design represents Lincoln's professional life in Illinois. Here we see him standing confidently before the Illinois state capitol, symbolizing his rise as a lawyer and political figure. The architecture in the background adds depth and authority to the scene. This particular design carries a sense of momentum, as though it captures Lincoln on the brink of greatness. Collectors who search for high-grade examples carefully inspect the sharpness of the Capitol building's columns and the clarity of Lincoln's figure. Even the smallest imperfections can lower a coin's grade significantly. That is why pristine examples, especially those graded at the highest levels, are so highly prized in the numismatic community. The fourth and final reverse design shows the unfinished dome of the United States Capitol during Lincoln's presidency. This image is deeply symbolic, representing a nation divided yet determined to rebuild and complete its vision. The intricate scaffolding around the dome is one of the most detailed elements ever featured on a modern penny. Under magnification, every line becomes visible, and collectors can immediately tell whether the strike is strong or weak. Perfectly struck coins with sharp scaffolding lines and flawless fields are exceptionally difficult to find. These are the coins that attract serious attention when they appear at auction. What makes the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny even more fascinating is its composition story. For circulation strikes, the coins were made of copper-plated zinc, consistent with modern cents. However, special collector versions were struck in a 95% copper composition, echoing the classic bronze cents of the past. This return to bronze for collector sets added a layer of nostalgia and desirability. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions with mirror-like surfaces and frosted design elements that create stunning visual contrast. When these proof coins are preserved in perfect condition, they become showpieces in any collection. Mintage numbers for the 2009 bicentennial cents were substantial overall, but the number of coins surviving in perfect or near-perfect condition is extremely limited. Millions were released into circulation, where they were exposed to wear, scratches, and environmental damage. Very few were carefully preserved from the moment they left the mint. Those that were stored properly, protected from moisture, fingerprints, and abrasions, have the potential to achieve the highest grades when evaluated by professional grading services. In coin collecting, condition is king, and the difference between a coin graded average and one graded perfect can mean thousands of dollars. Collectors across the country began roll searching in 2009, hoping to find exceptional examples directly from bank boxes. Others purchased mint sets and proof sets, knowing that coins from these sets had a better chance of remaining in pristine condition. Years later, some of these coins were submitted for grading, and only a tiny fraction achieved elite grades. It is these top-tier coins that command extraordinary premiums. The thrill of discovering one in near-perfect condition keeps collectors searching, hoping that their ordinary penny might turn out to be something spectacular. Error coins also add excitement to the bicentennial series. While most coins were struck correctly, occasional minting errors can dramatically increase desirability. Off-center strikes, double dies, and other unusual characteristics can make a coin unique. When such an error appears on a bicentennial design in high grade, collectors take notice immediately. The combination of historical significance, limited top-grade population, and unusual minting characteristics can transform a simple cent into a headline-making rarity. Another important factor in determining value is color designation. Lincoln cents are often classified as red, red-brown, or brown depending on how much original mint luster remains. A coin graded as full red with blazing original color is significantly more valuable than one that has toned to brown. The 2009 Bicentennial Pennies with vibrant red surfaces and no spotting or discoloration are the ones that stand out. Maintaining that color over time requires careful storage and protection from air and humidity. Professional grading services play a crucial role in identifying the finest examples. When a coin is submitted for grading, it is examined for strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and overall eye appeal. A single mark in the wrong place can reduce the grade and dramatically lower the value. Coins that achieve the highest possible grades are extremely rare. When one of these elite examples appears at auction, collectors compete fiercely, driving prices higher and higher. The Lincoln 1-cent Bicentennial Penny of 2009 is not just a commemorative issue, it is a modern collectible with a powerful story behind it. It bridges the past and present, honoring a president who guided the nation through its darkest days. Every detail on the coin represents a chapter of perseverance, leadership, and unity. That emotional connection adds intangible value beyond the metal itself. Over time, interest in the Bicentennial series has continued to grow. As more collectors recognize the difficulty of obtaining flawless examples, demand has increased. Coins that once seemed ordinary are now being re-examined with fresh eyes. People are checking old jars of change, revisiting mint sets stored in drawers, and submitting coins for grading in hopes of discovering a hidden gem. The excitement surrounding this coin is fueled by the realization that modern coins can become valuable much faster than many expect. While older coins often get most of the attention, certain modern issues, especially those tied to historic anniversaries, have proven that rarity and condition can outweigh mintage numbers. The 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny is a perfect example of this phenomenon. Imagine holding a small copper coin that not only commemorates 200 years since Lincoln's birth but also has the potential to transform into a highly sought-after collectible. That is the magic of coin collecting. It turns everyday objects into historical artifacts and sometimes into extraordinary financial assets. The thrill lies in the possibility that something so small could carry such significance. You have a 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny. Take a closer look. Examine the details of the reverse design, inspect the surfaces under bright light, and consider whether it might be worth professional evaluation. The difference between a circulated coin and a pristine, high-grade example can be astonishing. What appears ordinary at first glance may hold incredible potential. Today, the Lincoln 1-cent Bicentennial Penny of 2009 stands as one of the most meaningful modern commemorative cents ever issued by the United States Mint. Among the finest known examples, preserved in extraordinary condition and certified at the highest level, one remarkable coin has reached an astounding value of $68,000. Top 3. To truly appreciate the significance of this issue, we must go back to February 12, 1809, when Abraham Lincoln was born in a humble log cabin in Kentucky. The first reverse design of the Bicentennial series captures this simple beginning. The log cabin stands alone, modest and symbolic, representing the early life of a boy who would rise from poverty to lead a divided nation. The artistry of the design is subtle yet powerful. Under magnification, the fine lines of the wooden logs and the angled roof become more pronounced. On coins preserved in pristine condition, those lines appear razor-sharp, almost three-dimensional. It is in these small details that collectors find excitement, because perfection in strike and surface preservation can separate an ordinary coin from one that becomes extraordinary. The second design transports us to Indiana, where Lincoln spent his formative years. This reverse shows a young Lincoln reading a book while taking a break from splitting rails. It is a moving image, strength and intellect combined. His axe rests nearby, symbolizing labor, while the open book reflects ambition and self-education. For collectors, this design is particularly captivating because of its fine detail. The texture of the rails, the folds in Lincoln's clothing, and the carefully engraved lettering require a strong, clean strike to appear fully defined. Coins that were struck with precision and preserved without blemishes stand out immediately. The glow of original red luster across the surfaces can make such a coin feel almost alive. The third design shifts the story to Illinois, where Lincoln's professional life began to flourish. Depicted standing before the Illinois state capitol, Lincoln appears confident, poised, and ready for leadership. The building behind him adds architectural depth and balance to the composition. Collectors often examine this design closely for strike quality in the columns and clarity in Lincoln's figure. Even a slight weakness in detail can affect grading. This is where the world of numismatics becomes both precise and passionate. A single point difference in grade can translate into a dramatic shift in value, especially when dealing with modern commemorative issues that survive in limited numbers at the highest levels of preservation. The fourth and final reverse design represents Lincoln's presidency during one of the most challenging periods in American history. The unfinished dome of the United States Capitol dominates the scene, symbolizing a nation under construction, fractured yet determined to rebuild. The scaffolding around the dome is intricate and demanding from a minting standpoint. Under magnification, each line of scaffolding tells a story of craftsmanship. Coins with crisp, fully struck scaffolding lines and smooth, unmarked fields are much rarer than most people realize. Many entered circulation immediately, exposed to wear and damage. Only a small percentage remained untouched, sealed away in mint rolls or collector sets. An important aspect of the 2009 Bicentennial Pennies lies in their composition. While standard circulation strikes were produced using copper-plated zinc, special collector versions were struck in 95% copper, echoing the classic bronze sense of earlier decades. This return to bronze for collector issues created additional excitement among enthusiasts. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions featuring mirrored fields and frosted design elements, creating a dramatic contrast that enhances every detail. When viewed under proper lighting, these proof coins shimmer with beauty. And when preserved in flawless condition, they become highly desirable pieces in the numismatic marketplace. Mintage figures for the Bicentennial series were significant, as millions of coins were needed for circulation. However, survival in perfect condition is a completely different story. Coins released into everyday use quickly develop contact marks, scratches, and discoloration. Only those carefully saved from the moment of issue have the potential to achieve the highest grades. Collectors who purchased mint sets or proof sets and stored them properly unknowingly protected future treasures. Years later, when these coins are submitted for professional grading, only a fraction achieve elite grades, making them scarce despite high original mintage numbers. Color designation is another critical factor in determining value. Lincoln cents are classified as red, red-brown, or brown depending on the amount of original mint color that remains. Full red examples with blazing luster and no spots are considerably more valuable than coins that have toned. Maintaining that vibrant red appearance requires ideal storage conditions. Collectors who understand this pay careful attention to preservation methods, ensuring their coins are protected from humidity and air exposure. Professional grading services play a decisive role in establishing value. Coins are evaluated for strike quality, surface condition, luster, and overall eye appeal. Achieving the highest possible grade is exceptionally difficult. A tiny mark or slight imperfection can prevent a coin from reaching perfection. Therefore, bicentennial pennies graded at the very top of the scale are rare and coveted. When one appears in the marketplace, competitive bidding often follows. Beyond technical details, the emotional significance of the Lincoln Bicentennial Penny adds depth to its appeal. It commemorates a leader who preserved the Union and reshaped the nation's moral direction. Holding one of these coins connects the present to a transformative era in American history. That emotional connection enhances its desirability among collectors who appreciate not just rarity but meaning. Over time, the market for modern high-grade coins has grown stronger. Collectors have realized that condition rarity can outweigh mintage numbers. While millions of bicentennial pennies were produced, only a microscopic number exist in flawless certified condition. This scarcity fuels demand and drives impressive auction results. Stories of remarkable sales inspire more collectors to re-examine their own holdings. Imagine discovering that a coin once dismissed as spare change could hold significant value. That possibility is what keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and old mint sets. The 2009 Lincoln 1-cent bicentennial penny embodies that thrill. It reminds us that treasures can be hidden in plain sight. As years pass, fewer pristine examples remain undiscovered. Coins lost to circulation, mishandling, or environmental damage reduce the available supply of top-tier pieces. This natural attrition enhances the rarity of those preserved in immaculate condition. The finest known examples continue to stand as benchmarks for quality and desirability. The Bicentennial series also holds a unique place in modern coin design history. Never before had the Lincoln cent told such a structured, four-part story within a single year. This narrative approach gives collectors a sense of progression and completeness when assembling the full set. Each design complements the others, forming a cohesive tribute. Collectors who pursue these coins often describe the excitement of locating an exceptional specimen. The shine of untouched luster, the absence of blemishes, and the clarity of every detail combine to create something truly special. It is not just about owning a coin, it is about preserving a piece of American heritage. You have a 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial penny. Now is the time to look at it more closely. Examine the reverse design, evaluate its color, and consider its overall condition. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance might surprise you under magnification. Professional evaluation could reveal hidden potential. The Lincoln 1-cent bicentennial penny of 2009 remains a shining example of how modern coinage can capture history and create opportunity at the same time. Among the finest certified examples, preserved in extraordinary condition and recognized at the highest levels of grading, one remarkable coin has reached a value of $62,000. Top 4. To truly understand the significance of the 1967 penny, we must step into the atmosphere of America during the late 1960s. The nation was navigating social change, economic challenges, and the pressures of the Vietnam War. Just a couple of years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint had removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to rising metal prices. Coin shortages were widespread, and the mint was under intense pressure to produce enough coins for daily commerce. In response, mint marks were temporarily removed from coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage collectors from hoarding them. That means the 1967 Lincoln cent does not carry a mint mark, even though it may have been struck at different facilities. This small detail adds intrigue and historical importance to the coin. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, introduced in 1959, was still relatively young in 1967. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the reverse features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with Lincoln's statue visible between the columns if you look closely. It is one of the most detailed designs ever placed on a small coin. Under magnification, the tiny columns, steps, and inscriptions reveal remarkable craftsmanship. On coins that remain in pristine condition, these details appear sharp and well-defined. But because so many 1967 pennies went straight into circulation during a time of heavy coin demand, finding one with crisp details and flawless surfaces is far more challenging than most people realize. The composition of the 1967 Lincoln penny is another important factor. Unlike modern copper-plated zinc cents, this coin was struck in a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin a solid, rich feel and a warm reddish tone when preserved properly. Over time, copper reacts with the environment, and many coins from that era have darkened or developed spots. That is why collectors pay close attention to color designation. A coin classified as full red, meaning it retains nearly all of its original mint luster and fiery copper color, is significantly more desirable than one labeled red, brown, or brown. Mintage numbers for the 1967 Lincoln cent were extremely high. Hundreds of millions were produced to meet national demand. At first glance, that might suggest the coin is common and inexpensive. And in circulated condition, that is true. Most examples are worth only a small premium above face value. But in the world of numismatics, mintage alone does not determine rarity. Condition rarity is often far more powerful. When you consider how few coins from that massive production survived in perfect, untouched condition, the story changes dramatically. The highest graded examples become astonishingly scarce. During the late 1960s, quality control at the mint faced challenges due to the urgent need for coin production. Dyes were used extensively, and minor strike weaknesses or surface marks were common. As a result, locating a 1967 penny with razor-sharp details, smooth fields, and blazing luster is a true challenge. Professional grading services evaluate these coins under magnification, searching for even the tiniest imperfections. A single contact mark on Lincoln's cheek or a faint scratch in the field can lower the grade. That is why coins that achieve the very highest grades stand in a category of their own. Collectors who pursue top population coins understand how narrow the path to perfection truly is. A penny that appears flawless to the naked eye may reveal minor flaws under magnification. Only the most carefully preserved specimens, often saved directly from mint rolls decades ago, have a chance at achieving elite grades. When one of these coins is certified at the highest level, it becomes more than just a coin, it becomes a trophy piece. Auction houses highlight such coins, and competitive bidding can drive prices to extraordinary heights. Another layer of excitement surrounding the 1967 Lincoln cent involves the possibility of striking anomalies or exceptional eye appeal. While major error varieties from that year are not widespread, subtle differences in strike strength and die state can influence desirability. Coins struck early in a die's life often display sharper details and stronger luster. Collectors who understand these nuances search carefully for coins with bold lettering, full separation in the Lincoln Memorial columns, and strong detail in Lincoln's portrait. The absence of a mint mark during 1965 through 1967 adds historical character. It reflects a specific period when the mint was actively discouraging speculative collecting. Ironically, that very decision makes high-grade coins from this era more intriguing today. Because collectors were less focused on saving pristine examples at the time, fewer top-condition coins were set aside. Decades later, the oversight translates into genuine scarcity in the highest grades. Storage and preservation play a crucial role in determining whether a 1967 penny remains valuable. Copper is sensitive to air and moisture, and improper handling can quickly reduce a coin's grade. Fingerprints, for example, can permanently alter the surface if left untreated. Collectors who stored coins in original bank wrappers or protective holders unknowingly safeguarded potential treasures. When these coins are discovered years later and submitted for grading, they sometimes reveal remarkable quality. The appeal of the 1967 Lincoln cent also lies in its connection to a transformative era in American history. It circulated during a time of cultural change, space exploration milestones, and social movements. Holding one is like holding a tangible fragment of the 1960s. That historical connection enhances its charm beyond simple monetary value. As the numismatic market evolved, interest in high-grade modern and mid-century coins increased. Collectors began competing not just to complete date-and-mint sets but to own the finest known examples. Population reports from grading services show just how limited the supply of top-grade 1967 pennies truly is. When a coin reaches the uppermost tier, it can command astonishing attention. Imagine the excitement of discovering that a penny you once considered ordinary could be worth an extraordinary sum. That possibility fuels the passion of collectors around the world. It encourages people to examine old jars of change, inherited collections, and forgotten bankrolls with fresh curiosity. The 1967 Lincoln penny stands as proof that even the most common-seeming coins can hold remarkable potential when preserved in exceptional condition. Auction records have demonstrated that collectors are willing to pay substantial premiums for coins that combine rarity, condition, and historical appeal. A single point difference in grade can mean thousands of dollars in value. That is why professional authentication and grading are so important. Certification provides confidence, ensuring that buyers and sellers understand exactly what they are dealing with. Over time, fewer pristine examples remain undiscovered. Coins lost to circulation, wear, or environmental damage reduce the available supply of high-end specimens. This gradual attrition strengthens the position of those few coins that survived untouched. Each elite example becomes a benchmark for quality within the series. The Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1967 reminds us that coin collecting is about more than metal. It is about history, preservation, and the thrill of possibility. It teaches us to look closer, to question assumptions, and to recognize that value often hides in plain sight. Among the finest certified examples ever discovered, one remarkable 1967 Lincoln penny has reached an incredible value of $184,000. Top 5. To understand the importance of the 1975 Lincoln cent, we first need to step into the era in which it was created. The mid-1970s were a time of transition and tension in the United States. The country was recovering from economic challenges, adjusting after the end of the Vietnam War, and preparing to celebrate its bicentennial in 1976. Coins produced during this time were struck in massive quantities to meet the demands of daily commerce. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, introduced in 1959, was well established by 1975. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the reverse features the iconic Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns if you look carefully. It is an impressive level of detail for such a small coin. The 1975 Lincoln cent was produced in enormous numbers at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with proof versions struck in San Francisco for collectors. Because production numbers were so high, most people assume the coin is extremely common and inexpensive. And in circulated condition, that assumption is mostly correct. Millions upon millions entered circulation, passed through countless hands, and experienced the wear and tear of everyday life. However, in coin collecting, mintage numbers tell only part of the story. The true magic lies in condition rarity. When you consider how few of those millions survived in pristine, untouched condition, the narrative changes completely. The composition of the 1975 Lincoln penny is copper-plated zinc, a transition that began in 1982. But in 1975, the coin was still struck in a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin a rich, warm copper tone when preserved properly. Fresh from the mint, these coins displayed brilliant red luster that glowed under light. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused many of them to tone into darker shades of red-brown or brown. Collectors pay extremely close attention to this color designation. A coin graded as full red, meaning it retains nearly all of its original mint color, is significantly more valuable than one that has toned. Strike quality in 1975 varied widely. Because of the high production demands, dies were often used extensively before being replaced. This sometimes resulted in weaker strikes, especially on the finer details of the Lincoln Memorial columns and the steps at the base. Collectors seeking top-grade examples look for coins with fully defined columns, sharp lettering in United States of America, and strong detail in Lincoln's portrait. Even the slightest softness in these areas can impact the grade. And in the world of high-end coin collecting, a single point difference in grade can mean tens of thousands of dollars. Professional grading services evaluate coins using magnification and strict standards. Surface preservation is critical. Contact marks, hairline scratches, or even tiny spots can prevent a coin from achieving the highest grade. For a 1975 Lincoln cent to reach elite status, it must have blazing luster, razor-sharp details, and virtually flawless surfaces. Such coins are extraordinarily rare. While millions were struck, only a microscopic fraction survived decades without acquiring imperfections. Those few survivors are the coins that ignite fierce competition among collectors. Proof versions of the 1975 Lincoln cent add another layer of intrigue. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, proof coins were created specifically for collectors using specially prepared dies and polished planchets. They feature mirror-like fields and frosted design elements, producing a striking cameo contrast. However, even proof coins are not automatically perfect. They can develop spots, haze, or minor handling marks over time. A proof coin that remains flawless decades after it was struck is a remarkable achievement. When certified at the highest possible grade with strong cameo contrast, such a coin becomes highly desirable. Rarer varieties and die characteristics also play a role in the excitement surrounding the 1975 Lincoln penny. While not as famous as some double die years, subtle die variations and strike anomalies can add value. Collectors often examine coins under magnification, searching for doubled lettering, die cracks, or unusual features that set one coin apart from another. In rare cases, a unique combination of condition and variety can propel a coin into a completely different value category. Another factor contributing to rarity in top condition is the way coins were handled in the 1970s. Many collectors at the time focused more on older silver coins, overlooking the possibility that modern bronze cents could one day become valuable. As a result, fewer pristine 1975 cents were carefully preserved. Many were stored loosely in jars or albums that did not provide ideal protection. Over decades, environmental exposure reduced the number of coins that retained flawless surfaces and full red color. Population reports from grading services provide fascinating insight into how rare top-grade examples truly are. While thousands of 1975 cents have been graded overall, only a tiny handful have achieved the absolute highest grades. This extreme scarcity at the top creates a powerful market dynamic. When one of these finest known examples appears at auction, serious collectors compete aggressively. The desire to own the best of the best drives prices upward, sometimes beyond expectations. The Lincoln Cent series has always held a special place in American numismatics. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1975, the design had already been a part of American life for more than 6 decades. That continuity adds emotional value. Holding a 1975 penny is like holding a small piece of an ongoing American story. There is something thrilling about the possibility that a coin once dismissed as pocket change could hold extraordinary value. That thrill keeps collectors searching through old collections, bankrolls, and inherited coin jars. The 1975 Lincoln Cent represents that dream. It proves that even in years of massive production, exceptional condition can create exceptional rarity. Imagine discovering that a penny sitting quietly in a forgotten drawer has the potential to change your financial outlook. That possibility transforms how we see everyday objects. It reminds us to slow down, to observe carefully, and to appreciate the details others might ignore. The shine of original luster, the crispness of untouched detail, and the absence of flaws can turn an ordinary cent into a headline-making rarity. As time passes, the number of flawless examples can only decrease. Coins are lost, damaged, or mishandled. Each year that goes by makes the surviving top-grade pieces even more special. They become benchmarks for quality, admired not just for their condition but for their story of survival. The United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1975 stands as a testament to the idea that value is not always obvious at first glance. Among the finest certified examples ever discovered, preserved with extraordinary care and graded at the very highest level, one remarkable 1975 Lincoln penny has reached an astonishing value of $145,000. Top 6. To understand why 1982 is so important, we need to step back and look at what was happening in the early 1980s. Copper prices were rising sharply. The intrinsic metal value of the traditional bronze penny, composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, was approaching and sometimes exceeding its face value. The United States Mint faced a serious financial problem. Producing pennies in the traditional bronze alloy was becoming too expensive. A decision had to be made. That decision would permanently change the composition of the Lincoln Cent and create one of the most fascinating collecting stories in modern numismatics. Before 1982, Lincoln Cents had been struck primarily in bronze for decades. These coins had a solid, rich copper feel and a warm reddish tone when new. But in 1982, the mint transitioned to a copper-plated zinc composition. The new cents contained a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, drastically reducing production costs. What makes 1982 extraordinary is that both compositions were struck during the same year. That means some 1982 pennies are bronze, and others are copper-plated zinc. For collectors, that alone makes the year incredibly exciting, but the story does not end there. In addition to the composition change, the mint also modified the date style during 1982. There are large date and small date varieties. Combine those two date styles with two different compositions and multiple mint facilities, and suddenly 1982 is not a single coin, it is a complex web of varieties. Philadelphia and Denver both struck cents that year, and proof coins were produced in San Francisco. Altogether, there are multiple major varieties that collectors seek to complete a full 1982 set. The difference between bronze and copper-plated zinc can be identified by weight. A bronze 1982 penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams, while a copper-plated zinc version weighs about 2.5 grams. That small difference may seem minor, but in the world of coin collecting, it is everything. Serious collectors use precise digital scales to determine composition. A single gram difference can transform a coin from common to incredibly desirable, especially if it represents a rare combination. The large date and small date varieties add another layer of fascination. On the small date, the numbers in the date appear more delicate, with the 8 in 1982 having a noticeably different shape compared to the large date version. The positioning and spacing of the numbers differ subtly but significantly. To an untrained eye, these differences might be invisible. But to a seasoned collector, they are unmistakable. The thrill of identifying a rare date style is part of what makes 1982 so addictive to search. Because of the transition year confusion, quality control challenges also emerged. Dies were adjusted, compositions were switched, and production lines were modified. In such an environment, mistakes can happen. Transitional errors, coins struck with the wrong composition for a particular date style, are among the most valuable discoveries. When a rare composition and date combination appears that should not exist, collectors take immediate notice. These are the coins that ignite bidding wars and make headlines. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Most 1982 pennies entered circulation immediately and experienced wear. They were used in vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, stored in jars, and handled countless times. Finding one in pristine mint state condition decades later is challenging. Finding one in flawless, top population condition is even more difficult. Professional grading services examine these coins under magnification, evaluating luster, strike quality, and surface preservation. A single tiny mark on Lincoln's cheek or a small spot in the field can lower the grade significantly. Color designation is equally important. Lincoln cents are graded as red, red-brown, or brown based on how much original mint color remains. A full red coin with blazing, undisturbed luster commands a much higher premium than a toned example. Copper reacts quickly to environmental conditions, so maintaining that fiery red glow over decades requires ideal storage. Coins that achieve the highest grades with full red designation are exceptionally scarce. Proof coins from 1982 add even more intrigue. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, these coins feature mirror-like fields and frosted devices, creating a beautiful cameo contrast. But even proof coins are vulnerable to spotting and haze over time. A flawless proof coin with strong cameo contrast is a true prize. When certified at the highest level, it becomes one of the finest representatives of that transitional year. The excitement surrounding 1982 Lincoln cents continues to grow because collectors realize how unique the year truly was. It represents the end of the traditional bronze era and the beginning of the copper-plated zinc era. It stands at a crossroads in American coinage history. Owning a 1982 cent is like owning a piece of that transformation. Population reports from grading services reveal just how rare the highest grade examples are. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction survive in elite condition. This scarcity at the top fuels intense demand. When a rare transitional error or top-grade specimen appears at auction, collectors compete fiercely, driving prices to astonishing levels. Imagine the excitement of discovering that a simple penny in your possession could be part of this story. Imagine weighing it, examining the date style, and realizing you may have something extraordinary. That possibility keeps collectors searching through rolls, bank boxes, and inherited collections. The Lincoln cent series has always held emotional and historical significance. First introduced in 1909, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1982, it had already been part of American life for over 70 years. The transition that year marked a new chapter, ensuring the coin's survival in a changing economic landscape over time. More collectors have begun to appreciate modern coins and transitional years. They understand that rarity is not always about age, it is about scarcity in condition and uniqueness in production. The 1982 Lincoln penny embodies both principles beautifully. As years pass, fewer high-grade examples remain undiscovered. Coins are lost, damaged, or mishandled. Each pristine survivor becomes more valuable, more admired, and more fiercely pursued. Among the rarest and finest known examples from this extraordinary transitional year, one remarkable 1982 Lincoln 1-cent penny has reached an astonishing value of $110,000. Top 7. By 1997, the Lincoln cent had already been part of American life for nearly 90 years. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure. The obverse design by Victor David Brenner remained largely unchanged, showing Lincoln's calm and dignified profile. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959, still stood proudly. For decades, this familiar pairing represented stability and continuity in American coinage. Yet even in a year that seemed ordinary, the 1997 penny holds secrets that make it far more interesting than most people imagine. During the 1990s, pennies were struck in copper-plated zinc composition, a change that had been made in 1982 to reduce production costs. Each coin consisted of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. While this composition made cents more economical to produce, it also introduced new challenges in preservation. Copper plating can be sensitive to environmental exposure, and over time, many coins develop spots, discoloration, or surface damage. That is why collectors pay very close attention to color and condition when evaluating a 1997 Lincoln cent. Mintage numbers for 1997 were extremely high. Billions of pennies were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and proof versions were struck at the San Francisco Mint for collectors. Because of these large numbers, most circulated examples are common and hold only face value. However, in the world of numismatics, rarity is often defined not by how many were made, but by how many survive in perfect condition. And that is where the 1997 Lincoln cent becomes exciting. Finding a 1997 penny in average circulated condition is easy. Finding one that looks like it just left the mint decades later is much more difficult. Contact marks, scratches, and small dings are common because pennies are stacked in bulk, transported in bags, and handled frequently. Even coins pulled directly from mint rolls often show minor abrasions. For a coin to achieve the highest possible grade from a professional grading service, it must have blazing luster, sharp strike details, and virtually flawless surfaces. That level of preservation is extremely rare. Strike quality is another critical factor. While minting technology had improved significantly by the 1990s, variations in die condition and pressure still affected the sharpness of details. Collectors inspect the lettering of "In God We Trust," the clarity of Lincoln's hair, and the fine details of the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse. Weakness in these areas can reduce a coin's grade. A sharply struck coin with strong details stands out immediately under magnification. Color designation plays a major role in determining value. Lincoln cents are categorized as red, red-brown, or brown depending on how much original mint color remains. A full red coin retains nearly all of its bright copper appearance and is far more desirable than one that has toned. Maintaining that vibrant red luster over decades requires ideal storage conditions. Coins exposed to humidity or air can quickly lose their brilliance. Therefore, high-grade red examples from 1997 are much scarcer than the mintage figures might suggest. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint add another layer of interest. These coins were struck using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, creating mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. The result is a striking cameo contrast that highlights every detail. However, proof coins are not immune to flaws. They can develop spots or haze over time. A flawless proof coin with strong cameo contrast is a prized addition to any collection. When certified at the highest levels, such coins command impressive premiums. Another aspect that fuels interest in the 1997 Lincoln cent is the possibility of die varieties or subtle minting anomalies. While no major widely known errors dominate this year, minor double dies or die cracks occasionally surface. Collectors carefully examine coins under magnification, hoping to discover something unique. Even small variations can increase desirability when combined with exceptional condition. The psychology of collecting also plays a role in the coin's appeal. Modern coins were often overlooked by earlier generations of collectors who focused primarily on older silver or key date issues. As a result, fewer pristine 1997 pennies were intentionally preserved. Many were simply spent or stored carelessly. Decades later, the number of coins that remain in flawless condition is surprisingly small. Population reports from grading services reveal how limited the supply of top-grade examples truly is. While thousands of 1997 cents have been submitted for grading, only a tiny fraction achieve the highest numeric grades. These top population coins become benchmarks within the series. Collectors seeking registry set dominance compete aggressively for them, sometimes driving prices to astonishing levels. The Lincoln cent series has always had a special emotional connection for Americans. It is often the first coin children recognize, the first coin they collect, and sometimes the first coin they search for treasure. That familiarity adds charm. Holding a 1997 penny might feel ordinary at first, but when viewed through the lens of rarity and preservation, it becomes something entirely different. Imagine the excitement of discovering that a penny sitting unnoticed in a jar could hold extraordinary value. That possibility transforms the way we look at everyday objects. It encourages careful observation and curiosity. The 1997 Lincoln cent represents that thrilling potential. As years pass, the number of flawless survivors continues to shrink. Coins are damaged, lost, or mishandled. Each year that goes by makes pristine examples even more special. In the competitive world of high-grade coin collecting, even modern issues can achieve remarkable status when scarcity in condition meets strong demand. The story of the 1997 Lincoln 1-cent penny reminds us that age alone does not determine value. Instead, it is the combination of condition, preservation, and collector demand that creates rarity. A coin that once purchased a small item at a store can, under the right circumstances, become a prized numismatic treasure. For collectors, the search is part of the adventure. Examining coins under bright light, checking for full red color, and inspecting every detail becomes an exciting ritual. Each penny carries the possibility of discovery. And that possibility keeps the passion alive. Among the finest certified examples ever discovered, preserved in extraordinary condition and graded at the highest possible level, one remarkable 1997 Lincoln 1-cent penny has reached an astonishing value of $59,000.